What's up? Welcome in. You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you. No matter where you are or how you're tuned in, greatly appreciate all of you for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. If you want videos every single day on the Niners, this is your go-to spot. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and lock us in for news, rumors, analysis, live shows, and watch parties that are both informative, entertaining, and educational. What we're discussing on today's program: what is the future of Jimmy Garoppolo? Could he come back to the San Francisco 49ers? Will the Niners re-sign him, considering how well he's been playing over the last 4 or 5 weeks? Or is he going to go somewhere else and bolt in free agency because another team is going to pay him? We'll take a look at some Jimmy G destinations. We'll give you the latest on Odell Beckham Jr., a decision expected very, very soon. And why is Nick Bosa not getting talked about enough to be Defensive Player of the Year for the second consecutive year? Somehow, and I think this is criminal, he does not get enough credit for being one of the most dominant players in the NFL from a national standpoint. First, though, let me ask you this question. Thanksgiving time. What is the best part of Thanksgiving? Family, food, a specific food item, watching football on Thursday? Let me know right now in the comment section. Have some fun with that. Here is the latest on Odell Beckham Jr. Like I said, a decision expected soon, and this is major news that's going to send ripple effects across the NFL because of the player that he is, the team that he might go to, and of course OBJ being extremely marketable. Expected to make that decision as soon as the end of November, and we're already basically at the end of November. So that's why he could ink a contract with the team out there. And could it be San Francisco? They have been rumored to be interested in OBJ. Reportedly plans to visit the Cowboys and Giants after Thanksgiving. So that visit could happen any day now. That was confirmed by Jerry Jones postgame after the Cowboys beat the brakes off the Minnesota Vikings, and the Cowboys and Giants playing on Thanksgiving, and they appear to be the two favorites for the services of Odell Beckham Jr. And as for the player of OBJ, look, we've talked about him ad nauseum here on the show. He'd basically take those slot snaps away from Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings is not the player of OBJ, but he does have a special continuity and camaraderie with Jimmy Garoppolo in between the lines. Here's what Jerry Jones had to say about OBJ. I've just said yes. I will leave it at that. Your statement was after Thanksgiving, and that's the yes. We just don't have that all set up. We're planning to get together. Certainly, it's time for us to sit down. Dak Prescott also said this week and admitted that he is trying to recruit OBJ. He reached out to him and said, we really want you for this stretch run. And OBJ, of course, just lit the Twitter streets on fire last weekend because as the Cowboys were dominating Minnesota, he tweeted this: they went crazy today. They... Is he referring to his future teammates? I think he's just doing that for the social media clout. And then after that, he had tweeted this: I miss Saquon Barkley, and that has to do with his former team. So if you ask me right now, I think it's a two-horse race between Dallas and the New York Giants, but the Niners, especially if an injury happens there, could swoop in and sign him. And the players on the Cowboys roster certainly trying to recruit Odell to Dallas. OBJ with that tweet, they went crazy today, and DeMarcus Lawrence tweeted, they sure did. Make the right decision. And then Micah Parsons with the eye emoji said, come on then. Come on, sign with those Cowboys. Even if OBJ goes to the Cowboys, it's still going to be F Dallas day in and day out. But I'll tell you this, from a ratings standpoint, can you imagine how crazy it would be? Niners, Cowboys, NFC Championship game, and what the ratings would be? I think they might break records, and I'm kind of rooting for it low-key. Do the Niners even need OBJ? Play the role of general manager. Get in the shoes of John Lynch right now. Why for yes and for no? I don't think they need him, but after you saw what the Niners did against Arizona on Monday night, could they add yet another playmaker to that offense that right now is humming since the acquisition of Christian McCaffrey, one of the highest scoring offenses in the NFL? Now let's pivot gears to Nick Bosa, and then we'll round out with Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't want to miss that latest buzz. Nick Bosa for Defensive Player of the Year. Why does it seem like Nick Bosa is somehow underrated and under-talked about nationally? Do people not realize how dominant this guy is and how he can just change the course of a game in an instant? I think he is the best pure pass rusher in the NFL, both from a physique and physicality standpoint, but him just being a technician at defensive end. And the numbers certainly back that up. He now has 10.5 sacks after another good performance against Arizona. That's second in the NFL. His 50 pressures are second. 25% win rate, which is second in the NFL. First in quarterback hits, which sometimes is more impressive than sack numbers because that shows you the consistent production that he's getting on opposing quarterbacks. And 12 tackles for loss is also really good because that goes to show you that he's playing the ground game as well. And this is a guy who can change the complexion of a game more so than other defenders out there. And it's not like he's playing with stars along the defensive line. Eric Armstead's been out. Javon Kinlaw's been out. Yes, Chris Kocurek does a great job of developing defensive line talent, but none of them are star caliber players. Bosa gets double teamed and held on a snap in, snap out basis, yet he's still flexing on him because this guy continues to play dominant football. And by having him on the field, everybody else benefits from number 97, the Bear coming off the edge. You look at the Niners' pressures against the Arizona Cardinals. Charles Omenihu, prior to the NFL trade deadline last year, we're talking about a player who didn't do anything for Houston. Now he has 8 pressures against the Cardinals, and this year, playing edge and defensive tackle, he's been incredibly dominant, and he's earning himself some money. That's the effect of Nick Bosa. Bosa had 5 himself. Drake Jackson, Jordan Willis had 2 each. Talanoa Hufanga with 1. Fred Warner, Kevin Givens, Hassan Ridgeway, T.Y. McGill, Kerry Hyder, all tallying 1. And the development of that defensive line room continues to be spectacular under the aforementioned Kocurek because we're talking about the Givenses of the world, Hassan Ridgeway. T.Y. McGill was activated from the practice squad. Kerry Hyder looked washed last year, yet they're still producing for San Francisco. Arden Key got the bag. You look at some of the players who have really developed under his watch. Today's show, as I mentioned, is presented by ButcherBox. If you head to butcherbox.com/NFL Daily, we have a phenomenal deal that we want to tell you about. This Black Friday, ButcherBox is offering our listeners and viewers of the 49ers Report one of their best steak deals. How about this? Get 2 10-ounce ribeyes for free in every box for an entire year when you join. Plus, you get an additional $10 off if you sign up today at butcherbox.com/NFL Daily and use the code NFL Daily. That's free ribeyes for a year plus $10 off at butcherbox.com/NFL Daily with the code NFL Daily. ButcherBox takes the guesswork out of finding high quality meat and seafood that you can trust. 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork-raised, crate-free, and wild-caught seafood. Humanely raised, no antibiotics or added hormones. Get just what you want delivered right to your doorstep. That's the convenience of ButcherBox as well. Free shipping for the continental United States and no surprise fees. Choose from a variety of box plan options from curated to customized and change your plan whenever you want. Enjoy a range of high quality cuts that are really hard to come by at the grocery store at an amazing value. Exclusive member deals so that you can save big on your favorite cuts. Recipe inspiration, guides, tips, and hacks so that you can cook up mouth-watering meals. And for me, I'm approaching 200 straight days of my running streak. I recently completed 100 push-ups for 100 straight days. In order for me to be physically right and recover from our watch parties, I have to eat clean and I have to eat healthy, and I'm able to do that with ButcherBox. One more time, butcherbox.com/NFL Daily. If you want free ribeyes for a year, sign up today and get an additional $10 off. What is Jimmy Garoppolo's future? That's the question that we want to tackle to round out the show today. It's the final year of his contract. He's playing his best football. And what will the Niners do? Will they bring Garoppolo back on a short-term deal to be the team's starting quarterback? Are they worried about Trey Lance's recovery from that ankle injury, or just worried about whether or not he's going to be a quality quarterback in this league? And are they going to put more trust in Jimmy G to be that guy? Or is another team out there going to pay him big-time money in free agency? Because coming up here in just a couple of moments, we're going to take a look at some Jimmy G destinations, and there are several teams who could inquire about his services. Garoppolo really playing the best football of his career right now, and the last 4 games as evidence of that. He's completing 71.4% of his passes, well above league average, for more than 1,000 yards in 4 games. He is usually not a massive yards through the air type of quarterback. He's chucked 8 touchdowns to just 1 pick, yards per attempt, 8.4, and his quarterback rating, really good, up there with some of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League at 115.7. And we've talked about this, right? We continue to have this conversation here on the show. It is not crazy for Jimmy Garoppolo to come back in 2023. Now, if another team out there in free agency wants to give him a huge contract, of course he's going to bolt if the Niners don't give him the average annual value that he's seeking, the long-term financial security that he might be looking for, and he might have an opportunity to go somewhere else to be that team starting quarterback. But if he looks at this roster and he sees that he has an opportunity to win a championship, make some solid coin, and at least be the starting quarterback for the next year or two at a pretty solid average annual value number, and he has Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Jawan Jennings, and a really good offensive line. Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Spencer Burford, the latter of those two haven't given up a sack this year. Is there a better situation out there to bring the best out of Garoppolo as a player than the San Francisco 49ers? Of course, this also comes down to whether or not the Niners have trusted Trey Lance to be a quality quarterback, and if they believe that he can make that full recovery off that ankle injury. But we're going to have the same conversation going into 2023 that we had going into 2022. Are you willing to move forward with a Super Bowl-capable roster with an inexperienced quarterback in Lance, who now, going back to 2019, has made a combined 21 starts at North Dakota State in the NFL with this chock-full Super Bowl-ready roster? Or do you want to go after the more sure thing and bring back Jimmy Garoppolo? It's not crazy if he does come back. But there are teams who are desperate for Garoppolo's services. They just want solid quarterback play. And there are a lot of teams right now that are probably kicking themselves for not trading for Jimmy G. Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, New Orleans Saints, Houston Texans, just to name four right off the top. And some of those teams are in my updated Jimmy Garoppolo destinations. Zach Wilson is playing awful football this year. It's not promised that he is going to start here in Week 12 after he was abysmal against the New England Patriots, and the guy only has 4 passing touchdowns this year to 6 picks, and that offense can't do jack through the air. So the Jets, with those Robert Saleh connections, could be looking at a quarterback. Jimmy G might be that guy. The other team in New Jersey, the New York Giants, could also be looking for a quarterback upgrade. The Houston Texans, Nick Caserio, who helped draft Garoppolo in New England, is no longer there, but the Texans in need of a QB. Josh McDaniels, Garoppolo's former OC with New England, is now the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And Derek Carr, is he a flake? Is he a fraud? Is he overrated? A lot of those conversations going on right now. The New Orleans Saints are a team that have been starting Andy Dalton all year. Garoppolo is no doubt a quarterback upgrade. Washington Commanders with Taylor Heineke. Is he going to be the long-term answer? I'm not sure. I do know Carson Wentz ain't it. And then some other teams to watch. I think Seattle's going to bring back Geno Smith just because of how well he's playing this year. But the Colts, is Matt Ryan going to return in 2023? He does have money left on his contract. He's played a little bit better the last 2 games since Jeff Saturday got hired, but they could be looking for a QB. Pittsburgh Steelers, if Kenny Pickett isn't the answer, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if Tom Brady retires. So would you re-sign Jimmy Garoppolo? It's our biggest poll question for today's show. Would you bring him back in 2023 knowing you already have Trey Lance on the roster, or you might be able to get a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers? R for re-sign, W for walk. Get that conversation going down below.